Got off work.
Anyways,
12 hours will do that to you.
I am Thomas.
I'm Brian.
And I am Corey.
Welcome to the Days Grim. I know, dude. We're dealing with some new equipment, so I'm like constantly checking everything, and I'm not thinking about.
He's like somebody that just gave birth to like a kid, and they want to protect them, like Bubble Boy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, I'll tell you what.
So
this
week,
week,
Jake Gyllenhaal movie.
I'm trying to think of anything cool that happened to me this week.
We got new equipment.
Yeah,
and can edit video now.
You just.
I mean, I know, but I'm just saying, I'm excited.
Yeah, I think I got nothing. I really honestly think
I had something earlier in the week, and I was like, man, I can't wait to actually have something to talk about. And the prelude of forgot it.
You still got nothing?
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I barely remember what is today, Sunday.
Wow.
So yeah,
it's recording day.
I barely remember, like,
oh my god.
Friday.
What day is it?
Thursday.
I was gonna say like I thought. Oh yeah, I got something new.
Oh.
I got something new.
Hit me with it.
So this hit. I found out what plopping is.
Wait. Hold on, wait.
This is gonna get pretty dark. It's just a heads up.
Plopping.
So it's just as bad as it sounds. A guy at work was like, he's telling a funny story. He was like, yeah, something, then plopping, and then he was like, he knew somebody that had done this once, and I had to stop him, and I was like, dude. All right, plopping. Like, what? What are you talking? Like, he said it in a manner in which he like, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, so explain plopping. He was like, it's when you, the buyer, pays a young Asian woman to poop on your chest.
Okay.
Oh.
And so he
told that in a story, and he was just like, come on, you get it. What?
Where in the hell is he
Dude,
from? To where that's just a normal topic.
He's our industrial cleaner.
Oh, all right, makes sense.
So clean people like to get dirty? Is that what you're
Dude, I
saying?
don't know. He's like wandering around in
he deals
some
with
septic
shit
tanks.
all day
I don't know
long,
what
so
he's doing in his spare time,
I
dude.
think if that's what you're into, you really need to switch into like a plumbing career.
Like
you
shit's
know what I
an aphrodisiac
You
to him
should.
now.
Or like an excavation
Somebody
type
farts, he gets a boner.
situation. Start digging up septic tanks. I don't know, dude. I don't know. But he told me that, and I was just like, Jesus Christ. Like, I already thought the dude was off the grid, like, weird. And then you drop plopping on me just mid-conversation with zero reference and just like, you get it.
Yeah.
No, I don't. No. You're a psychopath.
That's weird.
Jesus.
The fact that he thinks that's like normal.
Totally normal.
Terrifying.
He was like, yeah, I was hanging out on Thursday, I did some plopping, and then I was out on if I went to the casino or whatever. I'm like, what? Yeah, so that's like the biggest thing that happened to me this week.
Well, did he do the? Is it plopping or what happens when you're the one receiving the plopping?
Well, it depends on now you're getting into
a different
now we're getting to like the verbalature, like the breakdown of like the verb
thing
itself.
That our guest
like how
knows a lot about English.
We do have.
Fuck is going on?
We have an expert of verbs. We will call her a verb expert. She's done this. She's done. No, seriously, though. She teaches creative writing at the University of Evansville. She taught me, so that's why I'm so smart.
God, so it's your fault.
In addition to being nominated for both the Pushert Prize, which I hope I said that right, also the Best of the Net multiple times, she's been published and has works forthcoming, which we're going to talk about during the show. Yeah. We've got some pretty spicy deets coming up. She's also got journals in Barrel House, The Rumpus, Iron Horse, Hobart, Hawaii. The list goes on and on and on. She's also an executive writer for Underwater Sunshine Fest, which I'm intrigued about, and I want to learn more about that today. It's an NYC-based music festival for indie or independent rock. With us today, Katie Darby Mullins, a.k.a. Do you have a nickname?
I do not. That is my name.
A.k.a. Katie Darby Mullins. Welcome to the Days Grim.
Hey, thanks for having me.
That might be the best intro I've ever done.
Yeah,
Hey, it
I'm
is the
impressed.
best intro, and I'm so glad I got brought in there because I was sitting here thinking, wait, there's got to be a verb for, and then
Yeah. Okay, so now let's get back to the plot.
there's got to be.
I need to know, like,
I mean, you can't go with plop.
Well, here's the first
right?
question.
That's
Have
too
you ever-
many-
And like,
Have you
no,
ever-
I think
Too
the
many
plopper
double
would be the
verb.
giver,
Yeah.
right?
Have you ever
Right.
plopped on accident?
I don't
I
think
think
that
that's a
can
shat.
be done.
I think it
That's
has
just
to
a
be on
mistake.
somebody to be a plop being.
I mean,
I'm just thinking about how that would happen by accident.
Yeah, like
hey, things happen when you're
Can
in
you
the
be
heat.
Asian by accident?
And can you be
all
getting?
right. No, that was specifically part of it.
Yeah, it was very
According-
culturally based, which
Yeah.
I thought was slightly racist.
It seems
also, like,
racist
what
and
about
like
the-
also really
So
a bad
then that,
idea.
That leads me to think,
Hygienic wise.
yeah, is there a name for like a Caucasian
Well,
young
for
woman?
us, it would be a rolling brownout, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
Are
any
you
of these
googling
terms.
this? Like, what's happening?
No,
Where are you getting?
he's sadly
Where's your
not Googling
sources?
this.
Where are your sources, sir?
The girl next door. Or no, it was.
What? Oh,
Hollywood.
The movie.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Oh, not
yeah.
the girl next door.
Yeah.
Sex Drive. The rolling brownout.
Oh,
yeah,
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 yeah.
that's right,
Sex
that
Drive was
was.
a really good flick.
Yeah, you sick fuck. Don't look at me like
I think the
that.
sad thing is we all just went, oh no, he's right.
Yeah. Rolling
So,
Brownout, that's a real
one
thing.
thing I have to ask. It's kind of dumb. So in
Dumb.
poems, when you're writing
Dumber than
in
we
your book, when you're
started
writing
with.
poems,
Here he comes.
I'm
Wait for it.
already really upset.
they're not paragraphs, right? They're not
Well,
bars.
I hope
What are they
not.
called?
Verses.
Verses, that would make
generally.
sense.
Well,
Sorry,
no,
what?
shit, that's songs. This
Yeah.
is my
Well,
job.
Dude, so bars make up a verse, right? Each
No,
two lines
okay,
would be a
so-
bar.
No,
Yeah.
so
Or there's
it's
one
still
line a bar.
versing.
It's one line's a bar.
One line
But
is a bar.
that's
Yes.
in music for sure.
Yes.
Right.
So
right.
I mean, the problem is I
trying to
teach
translate.
both,
Notably hip hop.
and I'm constantly mixing
That's why they
the
call
words
it
up. So it's
bars.
stanza in a poem, it's verse in a song.
Okay.
But I will say both for both at all times because I'm constantly writing about both. Unfortunately.
So we start every, we kind of do this introduction of the guest, talk a little bit,
Yeah,
but
I
then
know.
Corey does a death of the week.
I've been dying for Death of the
Yeah.
Week. This is right up my alley.
All right,
We're
so
death,
you have.
right?
I was gonna. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's
I was
just
prepped for
let's just
Death
go
of the
ahead and
Week.
do it.
I'm
dude.
ready for that.
I'm pumped. So death of the week.
Somebody's excited about me. This is awesome. All right. So, Death of the Week this week. We're going to go back to the era of 1903. Don't have a name for this one. It is an unknown man. But this is cited, so it is true. An unnamed person was beaten to death with a Bible during a healing ceremony gone wrong in Honolulu. He was being treated for malaria when his family summoned a kahuna who decided he was possessed by devils and tried to exorcise the demons. The kahuna was charged with manslaughter.
So kahuna, doesn't that mean nuts? Doesn't kahunas mean nuts in Italian or Greek?
Oh,
In
that's
Greek?
Cojones.
Oh, cojones.
Cojones is
I don't
balls.
I
think
was
that's
gonna
Greek.
say I only know cojones in Spanish. And I
Yeah.
just went,
No,
wait a
and they
minute.
say for
It's
balls
totally
in Spanish,
different.
it's
yeah.
it's eggs. It's
Huevos.
huevos.
Well, you remember
Yeah.
the big kahuna. That's a
I
phrase.
instantly was able to translate that. That's
No,
not,
absolutely. And
So-
the funny thing is, they look a lot like eggs.
Imagine getting beat to death with a book because they think you're
Not
possessed.
the Bible of all books.
And just beating you to death.
For malaria.
Yeah, dude, that's rowdy.
Do they even have mosquitoes on Hawaii?
Bro,
you don't.
it's
It doesn't
next
have
to
to
a-
be a mosquito. It can just
You
be
think they get
sterile,
shit?
or
Oh,
not
really?
sterile. It'd be stagnant water. Can give you malaria as well.
Wow.
It doesn't have
That's-
to be like mosquito ridden.
That's hot.
That's interesting. I did not know that. See, you learn
Thank
something
you,
new every day.
University of Evansville. Thank you. All right.
Here we go.
Yeah, I don't want to brag or anything, but now I have a source in the room. Okay.
You mention it at least once a week.
He's proud of his U of E.
I like to make fun of my brother a lot.
He's like, all right, look, I'm college educated, so everybody shut up and listen. So
I feel like if
my
Brian
God.
had his diploma, he would carry it in his wallet.
I have it right here.
yeah,
Oh,
I swear to God,
right next
it's
to
in the
him.
filing cabinet.
To be fair, I think the saddest part is that in this conversation so far, the only thing he and I both jumped on were both like, no. In Spanish they say balls, it's huevos.
Yeah.
And we both immediately knew
Yeah,
Spanish.
the man with the
profanity,
college
so
degree
that's
brings
not
up
great.
plopping.
Well,
Had a
you
full
know,
conversation about plopping
and
the other day. It
this
intrigued
is-
me. By the way, I have a college degree, and
You're
we're
welcome.
talking about this.
And I teach there.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
Everybody's got everyone's got an opinion.
So, can we go back to oh boy getting thumped on the head with a Bible?
Yeah, that really feels like
it really
the right
brings
way
a
to
new
say-
phrase to Bible thumper.
growing up religious, I'm not shocked that that's how they handled it in 1903.
So what is the big kahuna?
That was just
I'm
like
confused.
the big
I thought it
village
was
priest.
The
surf
big
thing?
the big
That's
kahuna.
what I thought. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
the big kahuna, like hang time. That's
Okay,
what-
this is
I'm guessing that
really
it's
weird. We keep doing the exact same
Everybody
things.
when they
I
think
don't
of
like
Hawaii,
this.
they're like, hang loose, bro.
Yeah, dude. If we ever went blind together, we'd be straight. We'd be good to go. We'd just be like doing the same shit, like synchronized.
Yeah, it'd be weird. It'd be super weird.
I want to know what the big kahuna is. I feel like there's more research to be done there. I feel
There
like you
is.
did
I did a piss poor job.
piss pour job today.
Yeah.
Piss poor job.
Well, that's okay because our guest is going to make up for it.
That's-
All kinds of
Don't-
questions.
don't-
I got
don't make any
questions.
promises.
just so we're
on
clear,
this.
just so we're clear, the guy got beat to death
With the Bible.
with the Bible was like died from being beat.
Yeah,
thick.
so like if you were playing Clue, he did it at the what did they call the
conservatory
cookout
with
dinner
the
in
Bible.
Hawaii?
With
It was
the
in the
Bible.
conservatory
I
with the
wanted to use
candles.
On the
word,
beach
yeah.
with the Bible.
But is anyone sure if it was the New International or the King James version?
It does matter. It does
Yeah.
It might
matter.
be the new
Just
King
for
James
heft.
version.
Art thou?
Yeah, did it have
The-
did it have the
Depending on it
commentary
being
notes added in the bottom?
in Hawaii,
red
I'm going to say
words.
the New Testament.
Yeah, probably. It was in 1903. Yeah, So,
1903 is more or less the New
go with
Testament.
But yeah, so that's the death of the week, and that
The only thing I wish
Piss
it,
poor job. You
I-
should have
the only thing I wish it would have
more
like,
research is-
involved was like how many times he got hit until he died.
Yeah, it took 386.
you think somebody's there at the
slaps.
clicker?
Bro, you don't know these things, man. Like people. Think about it. No, because think about it. Whenever they describe like a stabbing victim, he was stabbed
This is
897 times.
1903.
Like what the fuck? How do you count that on a human body?
CSI Honolulu, get on it,
for
boys.
Like who does the counting?
Okay, but it's in 1903, so get ready for weird.
But like the
Right.
guy doing the autopsy is like, you're gonna count every cut,
It's
every
gonna be like
cut.
that noir,
Every
that
fucking
noir
cut.
dude just pops into screen smoking
Yeah.
a cigarette under a lamppost.
There's like 20 something.
times out there. The
Yeah.
Black Dahlia's still loose.
Like what? But they always like mention that when someone dies, like, yeah, they were stabbed 97 times. Like, who counted? Who does that? I don't. They're dead. Who cares?
Well, that's the mortician. The mortician's the one that's counting the stab wounds. I know that for a fact.
It would be the.
It's in the. It's from the. It's
They actually have county coroners in some
Come on,
cases. If
come
the
on,
cause of
university
death.
degree. Fucking
Come on
spit it out.
now,
swear.
come on now.
I've spent so
the
much
death,
time.
the death part stuff.
The
eulogy?
mortuary.
The
Oh,
eulogy?
when they study the body after you die.
Autopsy.
Autopsy.
Hey
Yeah,
guys,
it's
by
in
the
that.
way, I don't
It's
have
in
a
that.
college degree.
I feel like
that was all
you and I
common sense.
both just shouted
It's in that,
words,
yeah.
and that's not good.
There's
Yeah.
a lot
I
happening.
force a lot.
To be fair, I do
Between-
that a lot.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
shout
A lot
until
happens.
it
So
happens.
I want to talk about how you
Well, I
got.
want to talk about how she got to Evansville because you're from Texas, right?
Yeah, and I mentioned that
Perfect.
first immediately everywhere I go, so no one thinks I'm not from Texas.
Texas
Yeah.
pride. Texas
Yeah,
pride.
there's
Shut
a lot
up!
of
You lived there for 3 years.
18.
He lived there for 3 years.
Still counts.
That it totally counts. It's by the loud love it dictum. You might not be from Texas, but Texas wants you anyway.
Yeah, they
It is
claim
part
me,
of the
dog.
song.
They claim me, dog. They try to get me to stay there.
Plus, military pretty much gets to go and stay if they want. So
Right.
just
Texas is like, oh,
part
you're
of how
in
it
the
is.
military? Come here.
Yeah,
Stop it.
pretty much.
Stars at night.
So what made
Big
you make
and
the
bright.
transition from Texas to Evansville? From Texas to Black Hole. I mean,
Right. No, I think that's a question I ask every Texan I meet up here. I'm like, what are you doing up here? Like, go home now. Like, now. But I'm from Dallas, and I did a lot of community theater and a little bit of slightly more professional theater. So I was tipped off about UE's theater program, and I came up here for an audition. Got lost on my way, met the writing department, and changed my major.
Wow.
And I was originally going to transfer back to Texas, but the guy who is now the head of the department asked if he could get me away to get out a semester early. Would I stick around? And I said, full year, and I want 2 degrees. And he said, okay, we'll make it work.
Wow.
And
Deal's a deal.
yeah, no, I worked for him, and I never went home. The end.
Well, he sounds like a good dude.
He's the best.
Nice.
but that's about all it's worth not going back
So
to Texas.
did you get into writing at like a younger age? Like, did you keep a diary and like just like learn to like writing that way? Like,
No,
or
that's-
did you
that's
fall
a
in love
good
with
question.
English first and then writing, or did writing make you fall in love with English?
Well, pretty much everything was about theater and debate when I was in high school. So I did a lot of speech, dramatic interpretation events, Lincoln Douglas debate, and a lot of script writing. And so I'd kind of started there, but I don't really remember before writing. I just don't.
You just think it's something you've always done to keep track of. And then like, so what made you like you said, you've been writing for years. What made you actually take that push to get something published?
Well, actually, the school at UE is very professional. And from day one, they basically introduce themselves and say, all right, so we consider you future writers. And that means you're going to be a part of our community. And that means you have to be good at it and interesting. And so they basically build you from the ground to be somebody who could become a professional writer. But that also means they gear it towards grad school to some extent. And when I first graduated, wasn't sure I wanted to go to more school. I did graduate in 3 years. I got out at 21 and was pretty much tired of school. I had gone
And now
to...
you teach it.
Oh, yeah. No, I came back almost immediately. I had 3 months in Cincinnati where I worked at a publishing house, and it went really well, and I hated it.
Now, if I may, I think that I am so glad having been graduated. And I graduated in 3 years and 1 semester. So I'm really proud
Yeah,
of that.
you did. Yeah,
I went through the
it's hard as
summers.
hell.
I went through the summers. I was stacking like 14, 16, 20 credit hours. I blasted through.
Yeah, I hated
as
every
soon as I could.
fucking second
But
of
like,
you.
if I could go back as a teacher, I think I would. I think I would go back, because even though I dislike school so much, it's like, okay, it's like your way of how do you want to express this material that you chose to teach or that you care so much about. So I think that's am I kind of close to the reason why it's different for you now, or do you still just hate school?
No,
like,
I adore being on my side of the
on
desk.
your side, right?
But I actually, when I was teaching your class, I was in a full MFA program at the same time.
Can you expand on that?
So that's a Master of Fine Arts, which is the equivalent of a doctorate in creative writing.
Whoa.
So I was
Gotcha.
teaching
Got a lot on your
college and basically trying to get a terminating degree in my field at the same time.
Right.
And it was really too much. And I knew
I
it was
bet.
too much.
You know who
but-
might actually enjoy
Ambitious.
those poems I found, those writings, would be Katie. Those ones I found in that attic
my
that are like
goodness.
hand
I
scribed
have
from
them.
like
Before you
1915.
leave, I will have to show you. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like 100-year-old, older than 100.
Yeah,
years.
I found them.
Yeah.
One of the grandparents that I was really close to, he passed away, and I was going through the attic, and I found these poems that are written on like a freight book from like boats that come overseas, or the freight
Oh,
boats.
God, yeah.
And they're handwritten in it, and
Really
they're from
cool.
like 1920 something.
Oh
and
my God.
like, I mean, it's old English, it's faded, and like Brian and I have been like transcribing, and so like we kind of work through them, and then I'll type them out.
Yeah.
And
That was pre-podcast,
Yeah.
so we have kind of dived off on it, and I don't have the instrumentation that
right,
I had.
and I'm hoping to like eventually put. I don't want to publish it as like my work, because it's not
Yeah.
my work. It's Nellie Jones, whoever wrote the book, or poems on poems
Yeah,
on
but
poems.
there is a lot of work that goes into
yeah,
making
and-
something
and,
like that a publishable
the poetry
artifact.
is just beautiful, and the words used, and I want to like photocopy them and put like her stuff on one side of the page, and then the translated version on the other.
a legible version on
Right.
the other side.
See, and that's how they do with even other language poets to this day. Like Proust is always printed English, French, things like that. And so I think that that's something that people would love to see, especially if there's an artifact that's in handwriting. There is such a dearth of seeing human handwriting these days that people are actually kind of aching for it. I have more than one student who writes letters with me back and forth instead of emails.
That's so
Wow.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
So-
appreciate that. From somebody who really takes pride. I know this page doesn't show it, but in my penmanship, when I'm not in a hurry, like I really do take pride in like just making it look beautiful. Like I think it almost is an art when I write something down.
Yeah, we were talking before the show about how neither one of us can barely read our notes we wrote. So, anyways, I think one that you're a great guest for the show, and the simple fact that it's called The Days Grim, and not only based on our last names of the show name, but like I'm a big person on wanting to show people that like one, your life could always be worse. Or some more worse stuff could happen, but also turning those bad times and using it as momentum and stuff. And I think your story really pushes that. And so before we go into all the other stuff, you said the fire would be like one of the first dramatic instances that happened.
Yeah, I want to hear about that actually.
I was gonna say, yeah, I don't even.
Are we like stirring up like bad memories?
No,
Like,
I think
gonna go home with like PTSD. Like,
Wait a second.
house on fire.
You
I
set somebody's
live with
house on fire.
PTSD.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Like I'm on meds for that. No, I'm kidding.
No, I think it builds character.
Well,
I think not enough people have PTSD.
yeah,
Honestly,
you know
that's where
what?
I'm at. So.
That's what's wrong with society
Honestly,
today. Nobody's
yeah,
got
they're not on our
PTSD.
level. So whatever. No, onward.
About half of my students would die there and say that.
I'd just be like scared and shaking, like what are you talking about?
Yeah, the worst part is like I'll drop a joke about something like the house fire, and then they'll all look horrified, and I'm like, right, I forgot. It's terrifying to you because it happened to you, and it's your trauma.
Yeah,
now.
like we're sociopaths for laughing at what we laugh at. You know what I mean?
Right, and I forget that.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Though I will say Zoom has really clarified how dark my sense of humor is because I'm teaching to black screens. And
man.
I made a joke that I'm not even sure I should admit I made. Because
Didn't know if it landed well.
I have no idea if it landed. And then I realized I'd made this joke to a bunch
A lot of
of
screens just
vulnerable blank screens in houses across the nation. And it may have been a little like, does suicide seem like a better way to go than coming to this class? And like it was a little harsher than that. That was really me. That was me tamping it down a little. And
That's
as
awesome.
I said
that's
it, I was
beautiful.
like,
I think that's
oh,
beautiful.
no. 'Cause
As the words came out of your mouth,
because
you're like,
I couldn't
"Oh,
hear any
those-
laughing.
I just said that.
and I later thought, like, does this mean I need therapy? And I was like, I'm not going to think about that
Let's
for a
just
while.
not. We'll cross that bridge later.
So yeah, no, nothing you say is going to terrify me because the voice in my head's like, nah,
Perfect.
suicide joke was legit. They'll
Perfect.
think it's funny.
Do you think these like instances that happen, these dark things that we're going to talk about here in a minute, do you think that helped you write? Like experiencing those, like, do you think all these things that happened to you that we're about to discuss, do you think that helped make you a better writer? Like it helped you because I feel like in order you got to experience things in order to write how you feel about them.
So rock and roll is kind of, I mean, I consider rock and roll to be the highest good of all forms of art, which again, that's something everybody pretty much knows about me. And so I pretty much was raised to believe that, yeah, you have to go through some shit. You've got to be drinking. You got to, I would say weirdly, it was the lighter moments that made the writing easier. But there's a lot of space, and you'll notice even in the story about the house fire, there's a lot of space between how I experienced it and what actually happened. And I know that, like, if I tried to close that space, it could be weird for me.
It almost seemed third person.
How young
like,
are we
when
talking?
I was reading,
Oh,
you know,
wait
like
till you hear why it
you
was
were
third
there, but
person.
like it was like you were watching
But I
yourself
wasn't
in
in some ways, and here's why. So 2 hours before my house burned down, well, nope, let's go back a second. We're going to
You had your
blip back
wisdom
into
teeth taken out,
time.
right?
I had my wisdom teeth taken out. I'd been married for 2 months. So this was the first time my kid was out of the house for school. Everything's kind of normal. And I'd had my wisdom teeth taken out, and I was on so much Valium or Vicodin, whatever they put you on.
It's one of those V's.
Yeah, one of the V drugs, the ones they don't just hand you if you ask
Vicodin
for
or Valium,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, and so like I walked into the kitchen, so I was gonna make some hard-boiled eggs, and my husband was like, "Yeah, good try. Go sit back down. I will go get Jell-O, and you will not." And I was like, "Okay, you do whatever the hell you want. I'm gonna make some hard-boiled eggs." And he was like, "First, we've been together for like 2 years. This has never been a desire you have had. Second, you don't cook. Like, you don't, like," he was just trying to logic. And I was like, drugs, no logic, gonna make eggs.
Hard-boiled eggs.
And
Go.
he
I'm
was
a
like,
fucking
you know
chef.
what? And yeah, and part of me thinks that just to prove that I couldn't do it, he was like, you know what? You go back to bed. I'll make eggs, right? About 2 minutes later, he comes in and pulls me out of the room. I'd passed out. the fire started under the bed I was in, under the floor. Yeah, no, like it's so weird if you're not here. Their faces just went totally traumatized.
Sorry, how
It was
demonic are you?
awesome.
Is Satan inside you? Is that what's happening?
I think he's afraid of me.
Oh, okay.
Like I have a
Fire
theory.
started under my
I'm Texan, dude. He's scared of all of us.
No,
And
for
so,
sure.
like,
For sure.
I saw Matthew McConaughey in here, and I was like, "All right, we got this."
Yeah, we gotta keep-
So
I forgot the picture was up there. I thought she was like looking
All the-
just
all
off
the-
in the
One thing I want to
distance.
touch on real fast. You're from Texas. How many tigers have you seen?
oh, that's a weird question. In Texas or
Yes,
outside
in
of Texas?
Texas.
Inside of Texas.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we are excluding tigers I may have seen or interacted with outside of the state because those are different numbers.
100%.
Yes.
100%. Yeah.
Okay, I've seen
Only
4
Texas.
within the state of Texas.
Wow, that's it.
That's a high number. How many big cats you seen here in Hoosier Town?
I mean, whenever I was a kid,
Zero?
at fucking Mesker, what are you talking
Yeah,
They
that
got that
count.
real sad guy at Mesker. He's not.
Yeah.
Oh, they like took his teeth out or
Ask
something.
me
Yeah, I
about
think
tigers.
they renamed him to Eeyore.
Yeah, he just kind
Wow.
of paces like
God,
this
that
is
was
the
depressing,
worst.
but I
Yeah.
like it. That was
No.
really-
So, anyways, fire. Sorry, I got
No,
distracted.
it's a
You
good question.
Talking about Texas, and I
Legitimate
thought tigers.
question.
This
I've
guy.
seen like
This
8
guy.
tigers outside of the state,
Wow.
but like
yeah,
I
I got
really
you.
like tigers.
Okay, so back on fire started underneath bed. Husband, hero.
Comes in, hero gets me out. Except I was in an Ohio State shirt that he had put me in.
Go
For
Buckeyes!
comfort reason, nah, fuck that shit. I actually, when the news van pulled up, I was like, "Don't take pictures." And, like, they're like 8 firemen.
Everything was
I'm
cool till the news
high
people
as
showed.
hell, and I'm telling them there are guitars in there. Go get the guitars. I only have one memory of the fire, and well, I only have one memory I'll talk about of the fire, and it was 4 firemen coming out of the house, each with 2 gig bags, one over each arm. And that was about it.
You were like, this would make a killer music video.
Yeah,
When they get fire. Come on,
seriously,
band.
I thought maybe I was
Somebody
in a
call Bon Jovi.
Soundgarden video. Like, I was like, this feels a little Black Hole Sun, but
Yeah.
we got through it.
front
I'm
row.
getting a Foo
Yeah.
Fighters vibe.
Yeah, that would have been better.
Yep.
So
Get Dave Grohl on.
With Tony Hawk.
and then
Yeah,
So-
dude.
I mean that poem. I mean, my dad's house caught fire and he lost everything in that. So like that experience alone is game changing. I mean, even my girlfriend's family, they had a house fire that they lost everything. It's like starting some square one, and then I probably took like a year for your new house situation and insurance and everything like that.
Ours was complicated more than that by quite a
Because
bit.
technically, it was
Because I'm a stepmom, and
Ah.
so my husband has custody. But because of that, and because I had just started working at UE, and I just moved here from an MFA, I had no work history on the record, and so insurance wasn't paying. Basically, we didn't land anywhere until Grace's 4th grade year, and she was in kindergarten then.
wow. So it took 4
So we
years
were
to
in
kind of get your
apartments.
life back on track.
Yeah.
And see, that's one instance that, like,
Wow.
I think, and I really like that you started your book off with that because, like, I mean, I guess it's like maybe not the first traumatic experience, but it's one that a lot of people can relate to. But not only that, but it's like, here's the ash. Now look at all this stuff that like rises from it, and then. While we're on the topic of bad things, before we start talking about the book, I mean, people don't know, but you're in your mid-30s and you've had a stroke or two, and
Yeah.
Wow,
Well,
a time
we
or
know
two.
for
A
sure.
time or two.
I like how casual that just slipped out.
At least
You're in your
one.
mid-30s. You've had a stroke or two.
Yeah,
So if you're not-
that's how my doctors say it, though. You missed the
right?
quick part.
Yeah.
There was a,
You've had a
Yeah,
stroke
no.
or two. And
But to be fair, you are a little strokey.
yeah. No,
I
I've
think-
got some stroke
bless
issues
you.
God
in my
bless you.
head.
That's an adjective that I learned from you today. You like walked up to the house and you were like, yeah, I don't know, strokey today, I guess. I don't know. Like, well, at least she's got a good sense of humor about her. Let's go for
I
it.
forgot you've missed the post-stroke years.
I only knew you. I knew
that's
you in 2011,
so weird.
and then I knew you in 2011. I was in your FYS class, and then I left there, and we became Facebook friends.
Oh man.
And then that was about it.
The
I remember I
post-stroke
tried to
stuff's
add
so
you
weird.
during FYS, and you were like, "Can't do it."
Oh yeah,
And then
they
it was
used
like,
to
as
have
soon
really
as I
strict rules
graduated,
about that. And then
as soon as I graduated the class, I was like, "Oh yeah, we're friends now." And then I had seen that some shady stuff had happened, and I was just like, "Oh man, I was thinking about you when you were feeling strokey." So I'm glad
so
you were feeling out.
strokey.
You're looking solid.
I'm glad it panned out, too.
You're looking good. You're looking good. So
Well, I
Leave it
want
to Brian to be empathetic with somebody.
Hey,
You know, when you were
they've
feeling
been
awesome.
joking about it the whole time before.
I was thinking about you the whole time.
Yeah, I probably should have opened with. Also, I had a stroke, and I don't take it.
Oh
very
yeah, Corey didn't know
seriously.
that.
Brian's
That's
the
right.
kind of guy to get you a card that says, "Hey, heard you had a stroke. Here's get well soon."
No, Brian. No, if Brian were to get you a card about a stroke, it would be golfing related.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll top that. My first year back, I played Billy Madison as my welcome back.
better.
But
Yes.
the end credits are with that "stroke me," and the students had talk about a slow burn. Like that was the most triumphant moment for me.
Yeah.
I was still on a walker and in an eye patch at that point.
You had an iPad.
That's awesome. Dude.
Well,
That's awesome.
if she was also explaining that her glasses are like 12 layers thick to block
On one
out
side.
glare.
Dude, you are just awful with describing things tonight. What is wrong with you? Did you have a
I gave him
stroke
my
or two?
stroke.
Yeah, that's right. You're like, her glasses are like 14 layers thick or something.
Factual.
You're just not doing great. That's all. How thick are they? I don't know. I don't know how they measure.
That's what she said. She said 12 layers.
8 layers thicker.
Oh, 8.
Eight.
Than
Is
Is it
this one,
14?
so.
God damn.
8 plus
Jesus
6.
Christ.
Hey, I could use the 14 at this point because now they're making me wear fucking sunglasses to teach online. I should fucking sunglasses. Fucking sunglasses.
On average,
Getting
16
a real-
layers.
getting a
Thank
real
you.
Stevie Wonder vibe while you're doing
I-
the Zoom class.
I really
Right,
wanna-
like, am I blind or do I just look
Well,
stupid?
do you have, are you light sensitive?
Yeah, the retina pulls away in the
Okay.
light. So
So, one thing I wanted to talk. I mean, we can talk more about the stroke, but I just figured a lot of people you've already said talk about. So I'm just kind of blowing right past it. Just mentioning you had it. It was an experience. I want to know.
I'm glad you did that just in case, because in a minute I was going to say something. I have one side effect, and it's aphasia, which means sometimes I say the wrong word, but I say it like I really mean it.
Oh, you're
And I need
selling
you
it.
to interrupt me and
Okay.
tell me I've got the wrong word.
We'll try.
So,
but I want to know.
That's interesting.
The stroke.
kinda cool.
That is kind of cool.
it's better now that it's
how-
just every once in a while.
How did that affect your writing? Would you say because one I know people that like.
What, the stroke?
Well, no, they have a stroke, but then like they
Jesus
forget.
Christ.
Well, they forget how to do certain things, or they got to relearn. Like I assume in your book you hinted being able
No,
to
he's actually
reincite.
asking the only right question.
Yeah,
no one
fuck
has
you.
actually asked this yet. So,
So
I'm
like
glad
you
you're
had
doing
in your
it.
book you mentioned that you had to relearn Spanish phrases. So I assume that you had to relearn Spanish to a degree.
I'm working on it. We think that there is, best we can guess, a Spanish breaker in my brain, and we've got to figure out how to trip it.
So
We don't know yet.
Pre-stroke you fluent in
Fluent.
Spanish, and then now you're trying to relearn the
Except
the process.
sometimes I answer in Spanish still, and I won't know I'm in Spanish. And sometimes I'll ask something in Spanish, and I won't know I'm in Spanish,
Like
which is why we think there is
accidentally-
some kind of
Right,
break.
some sort of
Accidentally
break thing.
bilingual.
But so the stroke affected your writing in.
Oh yeah, no, I immediately came out, and the aphasia thing I just mentioned didn't used to be quite so casual or quite so occasional, and it's in fact, and this is probably a boring story, but I'll try to
No,
cut
let it rip.
back.
Let it rip.
I had a student who was pretty excellent, and he
Come on, quit it. Quit it.
It was pretty excellent.
he immediately. Yeah, he's getting his doctorate in something I could get a doctorate in now. He's like 22.
It's an
So he was
excellent
beyond
doctorate,
excellent. Excellent.
It's an excellent
but
doctorate.
when he got back, he was like, I guess prepared for me to be on my deathbed because he'd been in Harlexton when I had my stroke. And and nobody filled them in on what was going on. Just nobody's seen Katie.
So he thought you
And
were dead?
nobody, and it's a long story, but it got really bad before it got better. So dude, found me day one and realized I was alive, but that I was doing that aphasia thing and that I was having some problems with where I put words in sentences. And also I couldn't tell a story in order.
Very hard for an English major to
All
keep
of
a
those
career
things
with,
suck.
I can't do that just normally.
Yeah.
And I've never had a stroke. So,
I gotta tell you, it
Yeah,
was.
dude.
I didn't realize it was as bad as it was.
Yeah.
Because I had come such a long way that I thought I was doing great.
I specifically don't tell stories. I say words and then I like
Yeah, trip and stumble.
throw them in
through
a bowl and I'm
conversation.
like, that's what happened.
Stuff. So he was like 19, and next thing I know, he comes into my office and he's got this book and he says, "Hey, you should read this." I was like, "Bullshit, my eyes bleed," which is part of the reason for the complicated
Right,
lenses.
the retina.
Wait, they
But
bleed?
it used to, from my tear duct. This eye also doesn't produce
Like
lubrication.
you cry blood.
Yeah, no, it's like literal,
Dude,
like
that's so
I
fucking
may
metal.
or may not
Holy
have
shit.
tried to possess somebody in Hawaii in 1903. Like, there's some shit going on with me.
Yeah, that's
and
Dio,
so,
dude. That's Dio. Straight up.
Holy diver! Like that's some
yeah, somebody
Yeah.
do it.
Do you think
Yeah,
would you
for
say
sure,
that
dude.
the stroke added a haze to your creative writing, or like
Well,
going
the
on
thing
with
is,
the process?
I couldn't focus on it at all. So I just decided I would teach and
God
figure
bless
out
you.
writing
God bless you.
later. And I wound up. He convinces me to read the book by telling me it's about Norwegian black metal, which holds water because the guy on the cover was Norse. And if you really, really have a strong stomach, your next best death should be a metal band called Mayhem. But Jesus God, beware
Oh
Google.
no, I already know about Mayhem. I already know about
Okay,
Mayhem.
so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
thinking.
I'm all
I'm making
down.
a note though.
Yeah, I'm
But this
down for
dude's
it.
like on the shore of Bergen, and I'm like, okay, shores of Bergen. I know their metal scene. I know a little bit about Helvet Up and Elsa too, so I'm ready to go on this. And I'm not. My eye immediately starts bleeding. This book is 600 pages long, and all I can think is that I'm going to beat this kid to death. And then I keep going because I've been told there would be
You should have
murder
bought an audiobook.
and mayhem and all this stuff.
Audio.
Yeah.
No,
How
and
the
I
hell
actually
would the audiobook go about a metal band? There would just be screaming parts in the book. That would actually almost be a freaking business venture. Sorry.
Can we
Admit it though.
Off air.
No.
You don't want anybody to take the
No,
idea.
metal audiobooks.
Jesus.
Like Dio in the background.
Christ.
Like, yeah! Like just randomly.
You two are crushing it tonight. I just want to be honest. Onward with the. I want to know about the Norse metal.
Well, the
Onward.
problem is you won't, and neither did I, because 600 pages later, it ends on the scene of his dad dying a natural fucking death, and I find out there are 5 more books in this series. It's a nonfiction memoir. I go in and I throw the book at the kid, and I start yelling.
How's this going to help me?
Almost exactly like that, at which point he says, "Have you noticed you've started speaking correctly again?" And I said, "No." He said, "Have you noticed you were telling stories in order again?" And I said, "I didn't know I was doing that out of order." There was a pause, and he said, "Have you noticed you fixed your subject-verb agreement?" And there was a long pause, and I said, "How'd you do it?" So he sat me down, and he developed a really complex hypothesis based on where the language cortex is in the brain, and then lied to me about how much metal would be in the book. Closest the book got to metal was one mention of U2 around page 400,
Wow, that's so not metal.
which is what I yelled at him when I threw the book at him.
Fuck
We've
Bono.
now read all 6 of the books.
Yeah, cool sunglasses, bro.
Cool sunglasses, bro.
Yeah.
So since in about you read
Yeah.
all the books.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean they're great books, but also though they're called My Suffering, which was its own thing that he was like, look, obviously it's about metal. Who would make a Hitler joke with no metal? And then this guy would. Anyway.
Golly.
On page 25 of your book, the poem "Self-Portrait of Me Living Up to the Voices in My Head," you start off talking about how you make these characters of yourself in your head to accomplish certain things. And at first when I read it, you were talking about being an actor. And then I didn't realize that you did acting stuff before becoming a teacher. And I was just kind of shocked off guard. And I was like, so you kind of have to be an actor to be a teacher in a way. Like you have to stand in front of a class. You have to put words together. You have to, and high school, or not high school, but post high school, college age kids are
Did you see how confused I
judgmental
was?
They were
to a degree. And I mean, for
I
somebody,
just like how he looked straight to you for high school. You know,
Are you
high school,
insinuating-
you know.
we were talking about this beforehand, though.
Oh yeah.
Brian would
No,
totally
no.
be the PE teacher.
Yeah.
He'd be the one that sits in the teacher's lounge.
I might go back.
I might go back.
I just,
Semi-state. Semi-state 99.
Look at that ring. Right there.
99.
99.
I think it shows like vulnerability to be able to stand up, not only in front of a crowd to do acting, but also as a teacher.
Well, and the irony is I quit acting because I got stage fright. And it was so bad.
After you started acting or before you had stage fright?
I'd been acting professionally for 2 years by the time the stage fright got bad enough that they actually hired somebody to hold a trash can off stage.
Really?
Wow.
And so when I started writing, I was like, oh, sweet, I can do this and I don't throw up at all. So I immediately started acting again up here, but just in the community theater. So
Okay.
I worked down on Franklin my entire college career.
Dope.
That's awesome.
Over on, so I loved it down there.
That's awesome.
And,
Speaking of acting in University of Evansville, that Rami dude.
Rami Malek.
So awesome.
Yeah, we were
have
all
you
like,
seen? So
yes!
he just cut a new movie, or what was it? He did one of the Fast and Furious movies, I think.
Oh, sweet.
He did like a car racing movie. I haven't seen it yet, but it looks really good. He's like a mogul in the movie, and he's like this high dollar. He has a lot of money, but yeah, he's just taken off. Like Bohemian Rhapsody, absolutely infatuated with Queen already, and then saw that. I think they did. They went a little overboard on the teeth.
Yeah.
A little
probably,
overboard.
but-
Yeah, I got a little.
He nailed
Who was
the
that
voice,
talking
though.
horse from the 70s?
Mr. Ed.
Yeah,
Mr. Ed?
He had like a
50s.
Mr. Ed vibe going on. Kinda.
Yeah.
You're laughing
No,
because
I'm laughing
it's so
because
accurate.
you said 70s and Mr.
Yeah,
Ed's the
Mr. Ed's
50s, yo.
Whatever. You know, showing
Go
my
married
age.
to television.
Showing my age. No, but yeah, he had a Mr. Ed vibe going on. And other than that, the movie was just absolutely killer.
Well, Queen
And I
had a
can't
hand in
believe
it.
He came from the U of E. I
Yeah.
can't believe it. So amazing.
So.
What's
amazing.
even weirder is my stroke. And this was not funny at the time. I thought it was funny at the time, but again, I was having a stroke. I had my judgment was compromised. I was teaching how to write about rock for the first time.
Okay.
And I had written on the bottom of my syllabus, write the book I read, because I'd written a book about who people in rock were. And I said, because I swear to God, if I come into class next week and one of you asks who's Freddie Mercury, I'm just going to burn the building down. Wow. And the thing is,
and I have experience with arson, guys.
right, it took everything in me.
By the
not
way,
to-
your seats are on fire.
well, here's the problem. I didn't go back the next week because I had a stroke. And my husband was like, Katie, I have the world's weirdest question. The movie had just come out.
Mhm.
And he's like, but why am I getting a lot of texts from unknown numbers that just say Freddie Mercury was the lead singer of Queen? And I
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
oh no, they don't believe I had a stroke. And
Oh
for
my
good
gosh.
reason, I did threaten arson. So you're going to have to fix this now.
Yeah, and don't feel rushed on any time unless
Yeah, no
anybody,
worries.
if
Yeah,
anyone's
cut
crushed
stuff
for time,
too,
yeah, like we
by
can
the
go,
way.
we can
Like-
go forever.
Well-
It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
And-
So whatever works.
So on page 29 of your book, you start a poem called "To the Song I Was Afraid I Would Wind Up Living," and then you quote, "Oh wow, I don't have it." In
No,
front of me.
that's a weird one. On tour with Zykos by Ockerville River. Can't tell you about the poem, but I can tell you the song it was.
Well, I just want to like the poem was really good, and I really wish I remembered more. But I took a note on a specific. I call it a bar.
That's
just one
fine.
line of it.
Yeah.
You put and numb is an ocean, and I am the undertow
Which one is it? That's what I had to pull
on
up.
page 29. So that is
my-
actually the quote's actually on page 30, but you'd have to read the last of the one before it, and then probably the next two in order
Oh,
to
I know.
get the
I know
whole-
where we are actually. Then.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Next page. I know where we
Right.
are.
And then cry.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm 100% lost.
Yeah. It's
Corey
fine.
can't read. That's the
So,
problem.
but in it,
It's-
I think
I'm not college
It's
educated.
okay for what it's worth.
I don't-
Not worth it. Not worth it.
I just think it's
Yeah, I'm
interesting
sorry, great.
because the whole poem is necessarily talking about I believe how you go through a cycle of where you think numb is better than feeling when really numb is worse than feeling.
Yeah, I had no idea when I was like 21 that numbness was not like the stated goal.
It's a crutch almost in a way,
It
and I feel like
becomes-
a lot of us go through life and we get these crutches, whether it be alcohol, weed,
absolutely.
whatever, throughout life that people really try to use as their thing to keep them numb. And I think that you don't You don't realize it at a time. But I just thought that whole, I mean, throughout this whole book, there's certain, I'm big on what I call bars, or just certain things that that seems deep to me. And just that line to me, I don't know why, but it's like, and numb as an ocean, and I am the undertow. And and then like you have in another poem, you have another one that says, I am a wolf in a what is it, in an old dog's body, or a sick dog's body.
I keep seeing that one in the reviews.
And, yeah, and I that just it reminds me of Brian's dog, first of all. But
Thanks, bro.
I have a Chihuahua. It reminds me of my dog too. He's convinced he's dangerous.
Definitely. I come from wolf descendants, okay? Just because I represent Taco Bell, fuck off.
Quito Taco Bell, senor. Hey, so on that, I would like to just so let's plug this real quick. We've been sitting here talking about
I have
it,
a book.
and I love the subtitle. Please just plug your shit,
weird.
dude. Say it out loud.
I have the strangest relationship with this because it came out during this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't kicked off on having a book out with my name on it anyway. All of this stuff almost, but 2 poems that were written after my stroke. So this is all after I got sick. It doesn't look like what I used to write.
So this is contemporary compared to... Okay.
Yeah,
this is
new format. New everything, so it feels very strange to me.
I'd like to get my hands on some of your older stuff, but either way.
there's stuff.
Plug your
That's
book.
The next
plug your
one.
book. The upcoming.
So this one is Neuro Typical Chemical Reactions and Trauma Bonds.
I love that subtitle.
I'm glad you're the first person to be.
I love the
like,
subtitle.
this is
That's so
very
rad
annoying.
to me. It sounds like a. It sounds like a fucking. It sounds like a damn. Like really cool ass song, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, like if I was gonna write a badass song, for sure.
100%. This
Chemical
was
reactions
just me
and trauma
going,
bonds.
okay, how do I make this an album title?
Exactly, dude. Yes. Metal.
Well, I just like I can't believe we didn't plug it sooner. Is it
Yeah,
available?
dude.
So it's not out yet.
No, it
right?
is out.
Oh, it is out.
So I have a couple of books I'm sitting on waiting for agent representation. I've got stuff out with a couple of agents, but the problem is, since my stroke, I write now in 4 genres. And so I'm constantly shuffling the cards. And you'd think for someone with memory problems, I'd just pick one thing and do it. But I've done the opposite, I guess.
God bless you.
Thank you.
And so is
this
it
one is
available on
actually
Amazon?
out. This is on Amazon, some Barnes and Noble.
I am
cool.
gonna order
So
a copy, and then any of our guests that share it will get entered in a drawing.
I don't know why we don't just. You know
No,
what?
no, that's what's happening.
Yeah, we'll order a couple
I
copies
was
and we'll
gonna
just
say,
have them
happy
in
to
here.
Of
No,
course.
that's
Link out, too.
amazing.
That
I'm a big
is.
fan.
Yeah,
of that.
I'm gonna buy at least one, and then whoever shares it will draw
What
a
are
name
they?
from
What
the
are they
hat.
going for? I mean, like.
I think $12.
Okay, I
They're-
was
they're
thinking like
small
40 or
books,
50,
so,
60,
yeah,
$70.
It's a female Alan Watts over here.
I don't know, man. Do you know much about Alan Watts?
I
That
do
guy.
not.
You don't?
No.
Wow.
Look into that guy.
Look into that guy.
We did a whole episode on him.
Oh, yeah.
Make a note, like right now.
Yeah.
So
If I
I don't want you.
don't, I won't
I don't want.
remember.
Yeah,
I
I don't
feel
want
like
you to
I've
get
proven
strokey
that.
later and then
I
forget it.
will.
You know what I mean?
I'm already working on it.
What?
In fact, how do
What?
I
I
spell
I thought your
that?
mic just fell on you.
Snap. No.
That's my
Like the
mic.
opposite of a mic drop.
Did the mic slap? No.
So I want to hold on that. So now that we've plugged it, I love this guy right here. Holy God, this one got me. And I don't know if you want to talk about.
Oh, the Slenderman poem.
Dude.
I'm so
I don't know
into the
what you
weird
did
Slender
here.
Man
I don't know
stuff.
what you did here or what wavelength you were functioning on. But damn,
Slender Man.
this got me, dude.
Terrifying.
Like it starts off kind of you're in like this shadowy place, kind of dark, and then it's like boom, Slender Man, doors wide open, the gates of hell to this world, and then oh, dude, just so dark. Like, so where does that stem from? Where does that come from? What is this story about? Like, is this a
Well,
real place?
Actually, the place is real. Slenderman technically isn't there. This is based on a case that was out of Waukesha, Wisconsin,
Okay.
where 12-year-old girls literally tried to stab a friend of theirs to death.
Oh, I
And
remember that.
they failed,
Yeah.
but they tried.
It was nuts.
But they stabbed her like, I believe, and Corey, correct me if I'm wrong, it was 97 times, 98 times.
We're gonna have to go to
They
the
stabbed her-
Minority Report.
They stabbed her approximately. Actually, it was
Minority
somewhere
Report.
around like 20 times. They
20
stabbed her
times,
to
20
death.
times.
Like,
So it was
she
a
didn't
lot of
die,
times.
but they were literally trying to.
But they did not
sacrifice
do a
her
great
to
job.
Slender Man.
Yeah.
They're kids. They have no idea
thing-
what they're doing. They're like, just stab her in the stomach.
Oh, that's the worst
My
part
thing
of
on
the
this
story.
a thousand. My thing on this cut number thing is that Chinese,
We're
like that
going into
Asian
it.
Hold on,
form.
wait, what?
You know that Asian form of
Time out.
torture.
Well, hold on, wait.
You guys are talking about the number of cuts.
You can't just say
Yes.
Asian. That sounds.
But
so
this is an
bad.
Asian form of
You're
torture.
talking about the 100 paper cuts?
No, the 1,000 cuts.
Or the 1,000 cuts or
You
whatever?
You have to say Oriental.
Could you imagine
Yo,
the
didn't
patience
McCain
of that
have
guy?
that happen to him?
Could you imagine the patience to make 1,000 cuts and to count them? Like, are you tallying that shit?
I mean, you would have
One.
to. You would need a clicker. You would need a
Two.
clicker on
No,
that.
you just need a
You
little
just got
clicker.
you got a sword in one hand and a pencil in the other.
Don't worry, I got one from my PE class, guys.
all right.
I got one from my PE class.
And now I know what all the PE
Full
coaches
circle,
do.
full
It's back
circle.
to-
We bring it back
to-
around town all day, every day, baby.
Brian's just saying
Yeah.
they're 697.
775.
You're so close.
Also, how
776.
fucking bored would you get? And do you think you call it
You
torturer's
take a break.
arm?
You'd have to take a break.
I feel like they'd call it torturer's arm.
Well, you'd have to
Oh, I got
hydrate.
torturer's
You'd have to
arm.
hydrate.
That's what they say on Letterkenny. Everything's about you got to stay hydrated.
You watch Letterkenny? I love Letterkenny.
I've watched every episode of
You said to
Letterkenny
be
at
fair
least
earlier,
5
and
times.
immediately in my head.
Almost.
I
I
know.
was doing it in my own head.
I was doing it in my head when you said it.
I'm constantly doing the
Telepathy.
Andy, okay.
Yeah.
Andy, okay.
Yeah.
Andy, so
okay.
we're doing that back and forth.
Okay.
So-
okay.
Telepathy, dog.
In your book, you have a poem called "Why Male Birds Have Colorful Feathers." Not talking about that poem, but on page 33.
I'm actually
Hold on,
glad
wait.
to hear
What?
that.
How the
Blow
fuck do you
past
segue into
it.
that?
Just listen, I only care about the title. It's about
Yeah.
birds, all right?
It is
so
about
on
birds,
page,
and
got
I
this
also
poem.
hate that poem.
right. But
Got
on
this poem.
page,
It's called such and such with Sucky Suck. We're not going to talk
Right.
about that, but we're going to go to
Okay.
this one. Why did you
But
mention
also,
it?
though, to be fair, as somebody who reads poetry pretty critically, I'm with him. So
Yeah.
let's move to a
all right,
different poem.
yeah. So, anyways, you have a book called "Why Male Birds Have Pretty Feathers," along the lines of that.
Something about it.
Right.
Yeah.
But on page 33 in the
poem, not a
book,
book.
there is a poem called "Animal Stress" where you talk about the macaw at Mesker.
Yeah.
So is that like your favorite place in Evansville? Is that your like go-to? And also, speaking of the bird title of 2 poems in your book, do you relate to birds? Do you enjoy bird watching?
I have a problem with a lot of birds other than birds of prey. I'm very into birds of prey and the way their wings are basically tiny weaponized devices.
so
Like
cool.
they shift like basically like airplanes do. We took a lot of our fighter pilot and stealth from like
The eagles
birds of
that
prey
fly
and
higher
things
up,
like
right?
that, right? So there's a lot of really cool stuff in that. But I used to take Grace to the zoo a lot when she was younger, and so I just kept seeing that same bird. And I have obsessive compulsive disorder, and at one point they were explaining that the reason he doesn't have feathers is because he picked his feathers out when his
They
mate
pull him out
died.
of
Yeah.
stress, out of duress, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stress.
He's fine now. He doesn't pull his feathers out, but he did it for so long that they'll never grow back. He damaged the follicles permanently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I like that bird a lot.
I knew a guy that had a macaw, and anytime he would leave for work, his bird would start pulling out his feathers. So he actually has to like carry his bird with him everywhere, or his bird will start to pluck its feathers
They
out.
actually make capes for them. I got really into macaws briefly after I found that out.
I had a neighbor that had a macaw, or maybe I believe it was a macaw. It was some big, huge, fancy 20-pound bird. Anyway,
Macaws basically look like dinosaurs because of their.
Yeah, they're
dude, it was
talons.
20 pounds.
Yeah.
It was a monster. Anyways, that being said, on the bird thing, can we talk about how creepy bird watchers are?
Well, you didn't even ask if she's a bird watcher because
I hope that you
don't-
are, because I'm about to shit on your dreams.
AKA
Dudes
Peeping Toms.
Are out there with binoculars in the park, bro. What are you doing?
not only that, dude, my mom,
what are you really doing?
my
Yeah, dude. You know
Yeah,
what
sure,
you are?
sure.
You're a creep.
Birds aren't
You're a
that
creep,
interesting,
bro.
They're not. I don't care who you are. They're not that interesting.
when I was little, my mom was a nurse, and she had this guy that was a bird watcher, and he came in with a shirt one
Is that
time
what she told you?
that was all white, and on the shirt it had the different types of bird poop
Oh God!
and like the type
That's
of bird
just
underneath
wrong.
it. I was like,
Dude,
really?
Everything-
Really? I
everything
remember
about
that from a
is
kid. I
wrong.
can't remember Thursday, but I
Everything
remember
about
that.
that is
from,
That
wrong.
stuck
like-
with you. You were like, oh, bird
I
watchers, they're
realized
fucking
I used
weird.
the wrong word because when you said, do you like birds, and I said I have a problem with birds, which I feel like says something about my subconscious.
I think that's like
I just was
that's
like-
bilateral. That
Do
can
you-
go one of
Yes.
two ways.
Have you
That
seen
can
the-
go one of two ways? Like I'm obsessed with birds, or
Right.
fucking kill them
No,
all.
I was afraid that
It
was
could've
the
been
way
either
it was
way.
read,
Well,
and I was
have
like,
you seen the thing, the
I think
conspiracy?
that's closer to where I live, but
about-
only because we have so many trees. And so we have We have birds that like to drop things on my chihuahua. Again, I have a chihuahua. He's my
Yeah, you're
world.
lucky a bird doesn't pick him up.
Trust
joke.
me, I go stand over him, so my shadow looks very tall. It's an annoyance.
Oh my god.
You get a Taco Bell!
Okay,
Just a
you know how to
burrito
use a
comes out
microphone.
like the sky, like a fucking soft shell taco.
Dude,
We have a lab too, and she is just absolutely unflappable about trying to draw their attention. And I'm like, really fucking like I'm doing everything I can here to keep him from getting eaten. Like,
Oh shit! Have you seen the conspiracy about birds being like government drones?
no, but that also sounds
They
like
had-
another reason to hate them.
Well, here's the thing. It wouldn't
100%.
be. It wouldn't be such a far-fetched
They
thing
recharge
if
when they sit on power lines.
if they didn't actually. It was a real thing.
Bluetooth technology, dog.
Well, hold on, hold
Dude,
on.
I've got a drone right here. That's the problem. They all already know everything.
The government actually tried that with pigeons at one point. They attached
is true.
cameras to
That
them.
actually is true.
So I mean, if they're gonna do that, I mean,
You know what? You know what that does for me? What that does for me? That does the same thing as the moon landing conspiracy thing, because like how they faked all the photographs. Have you seen this, Katie? The photographs of where they
I
like
have seen
they
the
staged-
photographs where they say
staged
it's
guys
staged
like on
and- yeah.
cables, like getting in and out of the lander, and then they later came out and said, "Well, yeah, we faked these because
Yeah,
well, like."
those,
USSR is
but
getting
Russia,
close.
but Russia.
Yeah.
goes
So that's
hard.
what happened. So I'm on the same level as that.
100% of the
What would you
sentences,
do?
But Russia.
Yeah, but the USSR. Like, yeah, we get it, bud. We get it.
So,
Sure,
in,
sure.
in your book, you have a poem talking about, like, I can't call you mom, I believe is the title.
Reasons
I can't
call me
yeah,
mom.
reasons you can't
Yeah.
call me mom. Did you really, like, feed baby possums and, like, rescue them?
Oh, I
or
forgot
is that,
about that
like,
period of my life. No, that's a total true thing that
Buckle up.
happened. Yeah.
Says I didn't know if this was a metaphor for
No, that's all
your
very real.
stepdaughter and
No, one
that
of the
situation,
tigers I saw
or
was partially in an animal rescue capability, but not here.
you mentioned like 3 animals. You mentioned possums, butterflies, and then raccoons.
Yeah, the raccoons were the really challenging ones because you would get really attached to them by the time you had to get rid of the raccoons.
And I heard that raccoons revert with age. Like, so no matter how much you baby them, they're good. But then when they get old, they get senile and they go right back to the trash panda they were supposed to be.
And the thing is, once you're about to release them, you're supposed to, if you're ethical, put them in an outside enclosure and then don't go out there except to feed them, and you don't let them see you with the food because it's not safe or fair to them to teach them
Right.
that humans are safe.
Well, that's what they said with squirrels. So many people fed squirrels for so long, and then squirrels were coming up to people.
Yeah, it's the same
Jumping out of
principle.
trees onto people and everything.
And raccoons could kill you, and they all have crazy stuff living in their claws, and
They're so strong.
Well, it's just like
They are
cats
really
with the
strong.
cat
the
scratch
females
fever.
are so strong.
I mean, and they climbed. They used to climb me. This was back when I had crazy long hair.
Raccoons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I would be at the enclosure, so they'd go up my. Sometimes I'd braid my hair, and they could climb a braid like a rope. It was
that's
nothing. And they can untie things. They're really incredible.
Do you
little
like the
creatures.
raccoons over the possums? I feel like possums would be cool until they get older.
Okay, I was scared of possums, but when we first
They're
got a set of
definitely uglier.
possums,
Yeah, they're
ours were
just- yeah.
embryos. They were ejected from a
Yeah, mother that got hit by a
literally,
car.
yeah, and so they were translucent, and they were about an inch long.
Damn.
And we knew saving them wasn't going to happen, so we could try anything. So
Mm-hmm.
we tried creating this tubing system that would replicate what
The
they had
mother's
with their
tit
mother.
or
Yeah,
umbilical
literally.
cord or
And
whatever.
yeah,
The pouch or something, like a warm.
it works.
Oh shit! This
We
is just like the
saved
kangaroo.
15 of
Are they just like
19.
kangaroos where they have a
Yes,
pouch and
they
it's
are
really
the
small?
only North American marsupial.
Marsupial. Yeah.
Dude, that is fucking rad.
Now that we're
Yeah.
on the
fuck are we
animal-
talking about?
No. Hold on, Corey, settle down.
Yeah, you missed
down.
this page.
So
I'm a
I-
weird
I-
animal
I
guy.
brought up
I'm
up
cool
a-
with that. We went from raccoons to kangaroos.
I
What
brought
the
up-
fuck?
No,
Well, no,
so
that's
possums have
possums,
pouches
yeah.
and kangaroos have pouches, and when a kangaroo gives birth, like we talked about in last week's episode with Lexi, it comes out the vag and comes up in this little slimy whatever up into the pouch where it attaches to a tit, and it spends several months of its
Yeah.
life right there growing in size until eventually, like a kangaroo,
yeah,
you
it
won't
can't
see a
live on
baby
its own
kangaroo come out of its
otherwise.
pouch until it's like a year and a half old.
That's hot.
Just real quick. This is my last thing for the night. I just want to make sure I squeeze this in every chance I get.
Get it in there.
I'm a huge fan of wombats.
God
badass.
damn it.
This guy, wombat.
Yeah, wombats are great.
Feeling it?
Yeah.
You're into them?
I love wombats.
Thank goodness.
Wombats are awesome.
I was gonna
They're
ask
like
you- I was gonna
gigantic,
ask you
like,
if you
half
even
horse,
knew-
half dogs. Yeah, no, I'm super into
They're like a
wombats.
huge German Shepherd gerbil. Like I'm
Uh-huh,
so
that's
confused.
a really good. No, yeah.
You know they get up to 75 pounds, 70,
Yes.
75 pounds.
They're crazy. They're like, and they like,
Also,
they can be 75 pounds, but still terrifyingly mobile.
Oh
like
yeah,
hogs. or
they're
something.
agile.
Don't
Yeah, there's
encourage
something
them.
about
Don't
them.
encourage
Also,
them.
they burrow.
God, don't
They're
encourage
just
them.
such an amazing animal. Did you know
Worse, I'm
their
actually enjoying it.
Did you know that their numbers are so slim that doctors and like zoologists have had to like reinforce
Well, they
their
protected their area that they live in.
They're like a protected species now. They're down. They were under 1,000. I think they're still currently under 1,000.
They were down to like
population.
less than 20.
I was about to
I
say
didn't
they
know
had like
that.
17 at
Yeah,
one point.
dingoes were just mauling these dudes.
Well, yeah,
like,
dingoes will do it.
yeah, they were hanging
Dingo
out.
ate you, baby.
They
They ate everything's babies.
no swear, dude. They would hide. The dingoes would bait these their burrows that they make when the mother births.
No, they really haven't.
Yeah, dude. Straight
Yeah.
up. And then they would wait for the babies to be old enough. They'd eat the mom, and then they wait for the babies to be old enough, and then they'd eat them as soon as they come out. It's just insane. So
To
the
be
whole
fair,
population.
dingoes are insatiable, and wombats are obviously tasty and large.
I know, but dude, okay, so Tommy actually bought me this one for the studio. So I strapped him to the mic. His name's William. And then we also got one that I donate money to.
Looks like
every
he's on a
month.
fucking rotisserie
This guy
right
right
now.
here.
I wondered
Yeah,
why there was a
100%.
wombat over
Huge
there, but I let
wombat
it go because
advocate.
I was just like,
Huge wombat
seems
advocate.
reasonable, and I
So
don't
we're
know
out
why
here.
I thought
We
seems
out here.
reasonable.
So get with me after the show, and I'll give you a pamphlet.
So as we like towards the end of every episode, we kind of do some like reflection based
Yeah.
like questions, and so one, the question we try to ask everybody is one, what moment do you think was like your lowest so far, and then like what did you do to really turn it around to change the pace to like make it go upbeat for you?
I really appreciate that question because I think, honestly, it's been the last year when I've learned that sometimes you just have to be quiet and stop working and listen to the inside of your brain. And actually, that's a lot scarier than any of the other stuff we've talked about. And I think I mentioned I'm obsessive compulsive, and I don't medicate it because it actually is probably what's kept me as creative and able to function as I am.
Well, I agree with that because I'm bipolar.
Okay,
And-
so you know it's a very personal choice.
Yeah, and you know, I've been medicated before, and I did the years of, you know, I was medicated for probably 3 years. Did 3 years of nonstop therapy every week,
Yep.
and I feel like that therapy and stuff taught me warning signs. You know what I mean? Like
And I still know
and
where
I
the
have those in
signs
my
would
head
be,
now
right?
of mental
like, I know,
checks.
yeah, if I'm here, I
Right.
need to call somebody.
And I'm hitting this mental check, and I'm like, all right, do I react to this or vice versa? And same thing with other instances that happen. You know, I'm like, is this worth me being upset about? Is it worth me getting invested into? But at the same point in time, if I took my medicine, I wouldn't be able to
You
do.
stop asking
Well, I
those
wouldn't be able
questions,
to. I wouldn't be able to run my candle bracelet clothing line company, which I need to get you a
Right.
candle, and then the podcast or my regular job or any of the other side things I do. I wouldn't be able to do them all or be as creative. And I
When
feel like
I had a doctor tell me, Katie, you wouldn't get out of bed because you're in so much pain. And he said, you don't even realize how much pain you're in because I break things and dislocate things. So y'all can't see, but I have a collagen disorder that caused the stroke. And so
What
it's
just happened? What just happened? That's a
yeah,
miracle.
I thought that was normal.
What happened?
What the fuck is wrong with? Oh God!
David
I
Blaine,
just-
what the
It
hell?
is so fucking hard to explain.
you could be a
what I
magician
do.
that fit in a box, damn
Yeah,
near. I feel like they could like
I
fold
used
you
to
into
do
a box.
Came out of
contortionist
your
work.
arm.
Didn't know that was weird, but yeah, you can do all sorts of stuff. I don't have a single joint that works. These aren't punk rock rings, or as I like to call them,
They
my
keep your
brass
fingers
knuckles.
and
I break
and
my
shit.
fingers otherwise while I'm driving.
my God.
So these are to keep my fingers from breaking.
Wow.
And so he basically says I would be in so much pain without pain medication that if I medicate the OCD, I'll realize I'm in pain and I'll have to medicate.
Yeah, no thanks.
And I
So-
was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
So you could just
all of them.
just break shit.
Yep. Well, that wasn't broken. That wasn't
It
even
sounded
dislocated.
broken. The pop that with
No,
the
that
with the
didn't
whole
pop.
Exorcist thing with the Bowie
That
shirt
one
doesn't
doesn't
help.
To be fair, they think Bowie may have actually suffered for the same form of hypermobility I did. A heart attack he had in his late
Was it a heart
50s.
attack?
It was a heart attack.
I thought he had.
He had cancer
I was about
10
to
years
say.
later, 12 years later.
Okay.
But he had a really weird premature heart attack on stage after a day or two of feeling sick.
Wow.
I had my stroke after 2 days of feeling sick because I was too young to have a stroke.
I think the biggest difference between you and Bowie is that you probably weren't doing near as much cocaine.
Not nearly.
No.
And he looked better in makeup.
What
So
what advice would you give to somebody that's writing and not what advice would you
Just
give to
keep
somebody?
doing it.
Just keep doing it. Just
You'll
keep
get better.
practicing.
You're
every
gonna
single
suck.
day? What
You're
about
gonna
somebody
suck for
that's
a while? Get used to sucking. Be okay. Get comfortable sucking, and then get better at it.
What about somebody that's like written for a while and they like want to get a book published? Like, what do you think your advice would be to them? Because it's no easy.
not quite established, but like really
Right,
trying to make.
I've got like a
that's-
buddy that writes a bunch of blogs. He's written a few screenplays, and like
Right.
I started to like video record it for him, and then
Yeah.
like the whole crew just kind of fell off. So like I just was wondering,
No, it's
like,
a good question.
yeah, what would you say to somebody that like wants to get something published? Like,
With,
what ducks do they need to get?
Literary fiction or poetry, something like that, short stories, things like that. There are literary journals, and just start submitting and reading the journals so that you're submitting to places that like the things you're writing. If you're somebody who's writing full novels or working with screenplays, you need to start sending them off to big dogs. Look at agents, things like that. It's scary. You're going to get told no 99 times before you're ever going to get a yes. But that's okay too. So
that being said, if you don't mind me asking about publishers and stuff, how long did it take you to find? Who is it that did yours?
So this is Summer Camp.
Summer
Publishing.
Camp, yeah.
And
Summer Camp.
they're a new publisher.
SummerCampBooks.com.
So I went with Summer Camp partially because I know the guy behind it,
Oh,
and
okay.
I know him to be somebody.
Way convenient. Way.
Oh
convenient.
yeah, no, and it's 100% a nepotism thing. Like he feels sorry for me because
I'm
of this.
smart. I'm not that smart. I'm not that smart. And nepotism.
No,
Let's
yeah,
go
it's-
on that.
it's
Can we
just,
elaborate? Synonym.
know.
Something. Antonym. Anything. I'll take
I'm
it.
not, yeah, I don't have a college degree. Explain it to me like
Hold
a
on.
5-year-old with a
That's a-
lemonade stand.
No,
That's a word?
usually when
Yeah.
when I throw out nepotism, I'm trying to make sure everybody knows I don't actually have any faith in my book on its own, which isn't
okay.
fair because that's not true. Nepotism's usually what happens when you give a family member a job.
Oh, got it. Too easy.
See,
But,
I
to
thought
be
it was just
fair,
like something. That,
I'm being a jerk. Actually,
thought it was a disorder.
Brooks and I got our fiction degrees together, the guy who runs Summer Camp. And so he wasn't even sure if I was still writing poetry. And when he got in touch with me, he was like, you still writing? Because everybody's question after the stroke wasn't,
What was his name?
hey,
What was
how
his
you
name
doing?
again?
Brooks. Oh, you're going to think I'm lying to you. Brooks Rex wrote. And no, I'm not kidding.
I just want to say for the record, that's hot.
Yeah. That's
That's hot
not the
for me.
reaction he
That's hot.
normally gets. So
I'm
he
into
will be
that. That's kind of
relieved.
like a porno name.
That is-
Honestly.
Right, like,
I'm into it. It's
I-
kind of a sexy name.
Yeah.
Literally, no one said that to him before. He'll be so relieved.
Make sure he listens to this podcast.
You're the business owner and the
But he
and the hot
instead
intern
of
walks in.
saying, so do you still write it all? He was just like, so what you writing? Which is hilarious because I had basically just gone back to writing as a joke, and I have a collection of poems right now that I'm looking at an agent for, but of poems where I hang out with the fake Dr. Phil, and we try to pick up the pieces of stuff and figure out what happened after the house fire and what happened after the stroke and how do we put the brain back together.
That's awesome.
But do
Yeah.
you talk like you're in Dr. Phil's voice?
No, Dr. Phil and I are separate entities, which is super weird. He's like a ghost. He's pixelated, but things can go through him. And he only interviews me at the end of the 4 quadrants of the book. And the last poem is one called, the poem where I tell Dr. Phil he's not real. And the first poem is one called, Please Don't Get This Canceled Before I Get It Published. A letter to Dr. Phil.
That's great.
And so that
I think he has to
is-
worry about his
yeah.
wife more than him.
That's awesome.
Right, she's way weirder.
Yeah, she's super
But yeah,
fucking
so that
weird.
was what
Grid.
got me back to writing. And I was
Good,
like, man,
man.
just poetry. Because I thought he wanted to read what I was writing. And he was like, actually, that's great news. Can you send me what you got? I had no idea he was looking for a company.
So what last minute plugs do you have?
Well, yeah, that's one thing I was going to touch on. Not only last minute plugs, but
Yeah, absolutely.
through this, I know that you shouted out your husband at the end of your book, and
Oh yeah, we didn't even get to know her husband.
well, I feel like there's a few references throughout the book, maybe how supportive and stuff, and vice versa. But like, I mean, it's great to have somebody supportive at home that supports all your creative things. Like you said in your book, he was giddy about your book getting published. Do you think is he there every like what'd you write today, or
He would be. I think there is something in a marriage that's lasted. We've been together 12 years. We've been married 10.
Congratulations.
And I think
Congrats.
that, and he's had a bunch of surgeries, and we had the fire and all this stuff. We parented. We have a 16-year-old. There's a lot going on, right? I think we all kind of make that sound when we say the word 16-year-old.
Do you know what a 16-year-old is?
16-year-old, gross.
Terrifying.
Is it a boy or girl?
She's a girl. She's a girl. But
Thank goodness, because
Yeah, I
boys,
know.
semen everywhere. Semen everywhere.
It's a lot of stiff socks. And
but he will see if I am writing, but often he doesn't want to intrude on what I might be thinking about for
doesn't
his own
wanna
comfort.
infect your thoughts in a way of what you're writing.
I think he's afraid that I would write with him and as the audience, and vice versa. I'm
that's
sure
cool.
that there is part of him that's not sure exactly how far he wants to go into what that looked like on my side of the bed.
In order to keep writing, do you say you're constantly learning
Yes,
new things and
that's so much more
experiences?
important than writing every day.
That's one thing I want to. I preach it 100 times, and I'm gonna preach it 100 more times. To stop learning is to die.
Yeah.
Somebody famous said that.
Seriously, all these people that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, okay, but you're not a fucking dog.
Right. Like
You're a human being.
If you quit trying new things, if you quit learning, there's no point to getting out of the bed.
Right.
Right? And so that's part of the
I
problem.
mean, if you're not trying to be better than the day before, what the fuck are you doing?
I mean, I'm partial to the Life's a Garden, dig it, but
I'm not against that either, dude.
I think
grass,
you can do
smoke it.
both.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
There it is,
I
yeah.
think you can do both if.
If life hands you lemons,
Squeeze them in people's eyes.
you get it.
Yeah,
You know what
I'm
every
saying?
time. Every time.
You make lemon pie.
No, I just want to say. So, do you have any last minute plugs? Anybody you want to
Yo.
shout out?
Well, I've actually I got a question.
Let Corey ask us one question.
okay.
Yeah,
He gets
bro.
one question
Dude,
an
roll
episode.
this
man.
carpet out.
I'm
dude.
just quiet over here. It's no big deal. So you're big into rock, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my actual
Classic rock, or just
1948 through now.
okay.
I had a friend release
48.
Well, I had two friends release records on Friday and two other records I bought. And then but yeah, my parents were pretty instrumental in making sure I was versed from the 50s throughout.
Okay.
And then I picked up starting in about 88 when glam metal or hair metal, it's more crassly called, and grunge sort of started taking off. See, now here's the problem. Here's where the professor part comes out. I'm like, all right, music, let's get down to real business. Like all of a sudden I'm very fucking serious.
like analytically tearing apart date by date.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing is you asked if there's anything else I want to promote. I do work on a music festival, Underwater Sunshine Fest.
Yeah, we opened with that.
Yeah, it's I do it. I'm the executive writer, but the guy who runs it is Adam Duritz, and he was in a band called Counting Crows. Well, he is. They have a record coming out
Wait,
next
shut the
year.
fuck up,
Yeah,
dude.
I realized.
Hold
A
on, wait.
baby in the mouth. You know a guy from this Counting Crows?
I don't know him. We're friends. Like it's weird.
What is
It's fucking
And
weird to
Brian
have to
has
be like,
left the studio.
Adam is
Yeah,
my
no.
buddy. Like, but yeah, no, Adam and I have been friends for about a decade.
Brian
Oh,
wants you
wow.
now to send an
That's-
email for
wow.
us.
So
but-
yeah.
I'm a huge counting guy. I'm a huge Crows guy.
Dude, they've got an EP coming out later this year.
No, they
and
don't.
Yeah,
Yeah, they actually do.
It's really good.
I'm
It
a
will be good, I'm sure.
Huge Crows guy.
Yeah, it'll be
Oh,
good,
right.
I'm sure.
Crow stay making
So I
sense,
should plug for that.
Yeah,
plug Adam.
for
There you
the
go.
Adam's got
underwater.
an
What do we
EP
call
There
it?
it is.
Let's plug the book one more time too.
Neurotypical chemical reactions and trauma response.
So awesome. And then the name of the music festival was the Underwater Sunshine Fest, NYC based. So if you're up in the Northeast where they're eating clam chowder, I don't know what they do.
Mostly.
That's more like
Tacos,
Maine.
The time of night we're
You're-
doing it.
I don't know what's going on up there.
I think we're
I don't
gonna
know.
try to hold it
Out there
again
on the
this
shore.
fall. So this
You are.
October and November. We didn't get to do it last year for obvious reasons.
COVID.
But, right. But we've had a couple years where it was pretty successful. And
Okay.
We mean to bring it back, according to the last call we were on. So
Well, I hope
I'll
that this
get
book
my
does
sweet ass up
amazing.
Yeah.
thank you.
For sure.
And I can't wait to see the next one.
Yeah.
Let us know before it comes out. We'll have you on again.
Yes.
I will.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
This has been one of the more.
I'm all over the place.
Yeah. No, I mean it's more of my pace.
I don't think Corey understands fully what happened.
I'm so
today.
confused.
So
Hey,
I'm in a
if it means
haze
anything,
since
me.
I woke up.
he's
this
really
morning.
just hanging in there.
I'm barely. I'm on a string, dude.
I,
So you're like
It's-
I can't.
almost all the way through the Sublime song, but not quite ready.
I'm
to
there.
play the radio
I'm right
station.
there.
Okay.
I can't say thank you enough for coming in.
thanks for
Seriously,
having
you
me.
are the coolest person that has stepped foot in this room so far. So, honest to goodness, check out the book, guys. Look into this Underwater Sunshine Fest where they eat clam chowder and listen to dope ass music.
Yep, that's it. That's what we do.
Clam chowder.
And this
that
has
would
been
make the Marcy
and then
Playground mosh pit real comfy.
There you go.
and then again, this has been Katie Darby Mullins, aka Katie Darby Mullins.
Still me.
Still her.
So just thanks so much for coming in, guys. This has been the Days Grim. Thanks for listening. I'm Brian.
I'm Thomas.
I'm Corey.
As well, I am buying 2 to 3 copies of the book, so please share this episode to enter in your chance to win a copy.
Oh, okay. I like that idea. We'll do a little handout situation or a little giveaway situation.
Bet
Not a
none of you are-
handout.
None
It's
of
not
you
a
are
soup
getting
kitchen.
it. I will share this every day so I get a book.
Well, it could be a soup kitchen.
Soup kitchen.
Oh, you like old stuff too. Like this house was built in 1900.
Oh, that's
Break out those
awesome.
poems.
Yeah, 1900.
God,
Seriously.
really?
What's wrong?
Here. Break out the